Hello, I'm Dr. Harper. This video is in Management of Operations. It's a memo assignment Excel tutorial for memo number 2, BURNIT distribution. So let's bring up the memo. So the assignment memo says the BURNIT, a small local distribution company, orders products from manufacturers, packages of products, and distributes the packaged product to retail customers in the Denver area. They have asked our assistance in re-examining their production run for 2 special products. One product is a Disney sing-along book, and the second product is a combination of the same Disney sing-along book packaged with a CD of the songs. Although they have experienced the manufacturer increasing cost in the past, they have not examined the effect increased cost will have on production plans. The manufacturer has just increased the cost of the CD to $370, while the cost of the book remains at $150. Although BURNIT has decided not to change the price of the book-only product of $595 and the book CD of $995, different production plans have been discussed due to the change in the profit margin because of the change of the cost. Due to heated arguments during planning meetings, the president, Ms. Burns, has requested our assistance in comparing different production plans before they place their next order. So notice this first paragraph gives a motivation on why we're entering into this problem, and also giving us a question or a request. And the request is, first of all, the president is asking us assistance in comparing different production plans. They're not asking us to give us a plan. They're asking us to compare different plans. Also, the reason this is happening is because of heated arguments during the planning meetings. So let's start setting this up. Let's bring in Excel. And in bringing Excel, let's begin to analyze this thing. Okay, let's see here. Let's bring this down here. Little ways, make this bigger. Okay, so we can see what's going on. That's good. And then, let's see here. Let's bring this down to here so we can look at both of these at the same time. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. We have 2 products. Let's come down here in a ways. First of all, our products. Let's look at our supply. Of a CD and the book. That's what they said. And the products over here is a book only and a book CD. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Let's see here. Although they have experienced manufacturing increase in costs in the past, they have not examined the effect increased costs will have on production plans. The manufacturer just increased the cost of the CDs to $370. Okay, here's the cost. To $370. And then the book remains at $150. Although the BURNIT has decided not to change the price of the book only, which is $595, and the book CD is $995, different production plans have been discussed. So this is the beginning. So here's our price. Whoops. And now we can actually bring up our profit now that we have the price and cost. So for the book only, this would be the price minus the cost of the book, which is $150. And this equals the price of the book CD minus the cost of the CD minus the cost of the book. So there's the profit margins. Okay, now let's continue on. Much of the conflict comes from some members of the planning committee that strongly hold to producing as much of the book CD as possible with available assembly and packaging resources, and then produce the book only with remaining packaging resources. Okay, so now we're getting into strategy. Here's the strategy. and this is the current strategy, simply is to produce or maximize, let's say maximize the book CD, then production, and then produce book only with remaining, let's say remaining resources. Okay, let's left justify this so that we can see what's going on here. There we go. And so that's the current strategy. And so we come back here and say, fine. Although this approach has worked well in the past, newer members of the planning committee propose a possible increase in profits by considering alternative production plans that still comply with company constraints. So now they want alternatives. Okay. First of all, increase in profits and still comply with constraints. And we'll get to the constraints here in a minute. Again, let's justify this so we can separate it out. Okay, let's increase this a little bit so we can see alternatives. There we go. So there's two things they want us to do. Look at the current strategy and then bring to the table different strategies to compare with it, alternatives, that increase profits but still comply with the constraints. So there's our mandate. We've been retained outside consultants to examine and report. Let's see here. Here it is. To examine and report the underlying reasonings of the different approaches. Ms. Burns emphasized strict constraints within their company. Okay, strict means they don't want it violated, so we have to be within these constraints. Okay, let's see, what are they? Since the company wishes to handle both the books and the CDs, they require the number of book CD products to be no less than the book-only product before packaging. Okay, so we come down here. Now we look at constraints. Okay, the first one is the book CD is the book CD up here is no less than the book only, so therefore the book CD be greater than or equal to the book only. Because that's one of the first constraints they do not want violated. Okay, and then after that they go. Let's see here. The next 2 8-hour days they have 2 full-time workers. Okay, then they start talking about capacity. The next 2 8-hour days they have 2 full-time workers dedicated to the packaging of both products. Okay, so this is packaging. So let's say packaging. They have the next, let's see here. Oh, I skipped one. Well, I skipped one. Let's see here. The first day, they have only 1 worker available for 8 hours during the day dedicated to the assembly of the book CD product. Okay, so we have assembly. And we have 1 worker for 8 hours. Okay, 8 hours for assembly. Okay. Well, that's going to be equal to the same as equals 8 times 60. That'll be 480 minutes. Okay, so we'll use minutes here. Okay, the next 2 8-hour days. Okay, now we have packaging. Okay, here the next 2 8-hour days, they have 2 full-time workers dedicated to packaging both products. Okay, now we have 2 workers times 2 times 8-hour days times 60 is going to be how many minutes there are. So that equals 2 workers times 2 8-hour days times 60 minutes per hour. It'll be 1920 minutes. Okay, and so there's some more constraints. That's the capacity. Actually, this is the capacity. So let's bring this down. It is a constraint, but now we're building our constraints by talking about our capacity. So this is capacity. Oops. Okay. Very good. The packaging personnel do not assemble, and the assembly personnel do not package. They keep these two activities separate as well as personnel. We have been strongly informed to not violate these constraints. Any production plan must satisfy these constraints. So we got to be careful to do that, because that's what they strongly advise that. Okay, then I asked for production standards for their assembly and packaging operations, and they quoted the following rates. So here they come. Okay, first, each book CD requires assembly that consists of a shrink wrap process, and one worker can complete 35 every minute. Okay, so now let's come down here, and now we will start doing the production standards. Okay. First of all, we have right here the book CD requirements. Okay. Assembly. Let's come over here and say assembly. Again. Now this one is the book book CD. Each book CD requires assembly shrink wrap process. One worker can complete 35 every minute. Okay, so this is going to be 35 units per 1 minute. Okay, so there's that standard, and we'll use that in a minute. And then the book only product requires no assembly. That's easy. The book only product is packaged 2 dozen to a box, and 230 boxes can be completed by one worker in 1 8-hour shift. Okay, here we go. Now, packaging. And now the book only. Okay, and this is going to be 2 dozen, 2 times 12, times 230 boxes in 8 hours. Okay, let's justify that. So it's 2 dozen to a box. 2 times 12 is 2 dozen. 230 boxes in one worker in 1 8-hour shift. Okay, so that's how many per 8 hours. That's how many per 1 minute. Again, we'll probably go to hours, minutes here in a minute. And then we have the book CD product is packaged 1 dozen to a box. 420 boxes can be packaged for shipment in 1 worker in 1 8-hour shift. Okay, now let's come down here and have book CD. Okay, on this one it is 1 dozen to a box, so that will be just 1 times 12 times 420 boxes in 8 hours. Okay, and so there's the packaging production standards for the packaging for the book CD. So this one here, actually let's move this over. This is going to be the book CD. Okay, and let's move this down, and let's say the book only. No assembly. Just to be complete here, to make sure we see everything that's going on here. Let's right justify this and then left justify this. Here we go. Okay. Okay, we have been asked to examine a production plan of the individual products within consideration of packaging requirements. Okay, the individual products without consideration of packaging requirements. In other words, they want to know how many units to produce, not how many boxes to produce. That doesn't matter to them. They're talking about the production of each unit. How many books, and how many book CDs, how many book only book CDs, and the packaging, that's not what they're concerned about. Okay, please prepare a response memo to Ms. Burns presenting the comparative analysis. Okay, let's enlarge this. A comparative analysis of production plans. And so I want to emphasize this by bolding this, because some people want to deviate from these plans, say, no, I'm going to just give you the optimal plan and just figure it out. They don't want that. They want to say, here's what we're doing now, what are other plans, and compare. Well, compare doesn't just state the plans, it's comparing somehow. And the underlying approaches for their next single production runs within the constraints given. And I want to emphasize again, within the constraints given. In the past, a lot of people violate the constraints and say, this is better. That's not what they want. Be sure your response to Mrs. Burns is suitable for discussion in their planning meetings. Suitable for discussion in planning meetings. In other words, don't just state things. Say it in such a way that they can use it and discuss it and talk about it. With synced but adequate information, including order quantities, distribution amounts, and monetary values. Okay, so they're asking for quite a bit. Prepare a separate technical memo outlining the details of your analysis, including assumptions, procedures, and calculations. Okay, let's bring this back down. And so from that, in essence, let's actually go in and solve this thing. Okay. Now, the way I'm going to solve this, which we know what their current is, but they want to increase profits. They want to increase profits here. So therefore, probably a good way to start is say, what's maximum profit, come back to the current, and then see what the alternative plans between those two. So where they have the current, let's see if a maximum is different. It may be the same. See if it's different, and then compare between the two. Okay, so let's do that. And so down here, let's start solving this thing. Let's say our products are going to be book only, and this is book CD. So those are our products. Over here, let's have assembly, and let's have packaging. Okay. Well, the book only requires no assembly. That's easy. Now the book CD, the production is 35 units every minute. And so over here, let's do the capacity. Well, the capacity for the assembly up here is 8 hours, which is 480 minutes. So let's have 480. And this is 1920. So these are in minutes. Okay, that's good. Now right here, remember it says how many minutes are required for each book. Well, it's 35 books per minute, so that will equal one book divided by 35, and so it's 1 minute every 35, and that's how many minutes per book if there's 35 every minute. Okay, and likewise for packaging, over here we have 8 hours. Okay, so that's going to equal 8 times 60, that's how many minutes you have, divided by what's the total number that you can produce? Well, it's 2 times 12 times 230. Okay, and so that's how many minutes per book. Okay, packaging. Likewise, this will be 8. This will be 8 times 60 again. Same add 8 hours, but this is divided by. It's going to be 12 times 420. And so that's how many minutes per product is required for packaging. Okay, but then remember up here we have another constraint. We have the book CDs is greater than or equal to the book only. Okay, well on this one, let's call this a mix requirement. a mix requirement. Let's just say mix required. Okay, it's a requirement. In other words, the book CD is greater than book only, so book only is going to be less than or equal to the book CD. If we bring that, see, this is going to be less than, so let's make this less than. That's a 0. So therefore, if it's, put this the other way, the book only is on this side, and that's going to have a 1, and the book only is a -1. In other words, if we just reverse this around, book only over here will be less than or equal to book CD. Bring that over here, it's a -1. Okay, so that we got that. That's straightforward on just inequalities. The reason I did it that way is so now, whatever we have, the value here would be less than or equal to the right-hand side. Okay, so I can say capacity. I could also say right-hand side. This would be, actually, this is the left-hand side. Okay, and this is the right-hand side. Okay, good to go. Now we have profit down here. Let's do the profit. Okay, for the book only, up here we know we have our profit up here. What is it? Book only is going to be $4.95, and for the book CD equals book CD profit is $4.75, and there they go. Okay, now down here is going to be our max profit mix. So now let's go ahead and solve this thing to see what the maximum is going to be. I think we have all this set up here now. Let's go ahead and box this in. These are our decision variables to see what the optimum is. They're not asking for it, but it's going to be a way to judge. That's maximum profit. They want to increase profits. What do they do to increase the profits? Well, let's see what the maximum profit is, see what the current is, and just compare and see what they need to do, and then start comparing. Okay, from this, let's create our left-hand side. This equals the sum product of the coefficients here, comma, our product mix here, F4 to fix, and then copy this down. Boom, boom, and there's our profit. Let me box this in and shade this, because this is going to be our profit. Here's the left-hand side, there's the right-hand side, profit, there's our decision variables. So let's solve this thing. Data, solver, okay, and it's going to be there. We want to maximize our profit by changing these variables right here. And we want to add our constraints, which is the left-hand side is less than or equal to the right-hand side. Okay. Make unconstrained variables non-negative. Let's have a simplex algorithm. Solve this thing, and there's our solution. Found a solution. Okay, and we're good to go. Okay. And that's good. Okay. Now that's fine and dandy, but that's not what they asked for. Let's reduce this back down. What they want, a comparative analysis of production plans and the underlying approaches on how to do this. Well, this is our maximum, but what's their current? Well, the current, remember, their current plan is max to book CD production. Okay, well, let's come down here and let's say what are their current is going to be maximum to book CD production. Well, what's the maximum? Well, that's going to equal the total capacity divided by the production standard, and that's the maximum that they can produce. It's the maximum they can produce. Okay, using all the resources, all the assembly resources to package, and there it is. Can't go any more than that. Okay, but then down here, how many can we make with the packaging? That's assembly resources. How many book only can we make with packaging resources? Well, first of all, we take our resources, which is 1920. Let's open parenthesis, 1920 minus those resources used for book CD, which is this times this, okay, in parentheses. We're going to divide that by our standard here and say, okay, well, we can make 3680. So that right there is their current production. That's where they're at now, okay? And so basically, essentially, we want to go between these two, from here to here. And notice the idea here is decrease. Okay, look at this right here. Let's box this in. And let's box this in. Okay, here's the memo. Well, we're going to increase the book only and decrease the book CD. And if we do that, we're going to increase our profit. Are we not? Let's see. So over here, let's say profit. Let's bring this down. Now let's start analyzing it. Okay. Over here is going to be our profit. P-R-O-F-I-T. It's going to equal the sum product of our unit profit here. I tell you, I don't like this. It's just kind of annoying. Left justify, so we see what we're doing. Equals the sum product of our coefficients here, F4 to freeze those, comma, the actual product mix. It's the same thing, okay? But the reason I did that, now I can copy this down. What's our profit here? Well, the profit here is going to be 176. And so we're increasing by this much. Okay, so let's go ahead and increase this. So if we're producing nothing, well, profit's nothing. So notice now we can say, okay, in comparing this with this production plan, this is the current. We can go up to this, and so how much of an increase is this? Okay, it's going to equal this minus this. We're looking at that much of an increase. So that's not that much, really. So yes, the argument, yes, you can increase it by a small amount, but you can increase it. Okay, by increasing it, increasing this and decreasing this, you can start increasing it. But then what's another comparative analysis? I don't know. Let's take another one in here. We can take whatever we want. Actually, we can do more than one. Let's bring this down and let's have let's have 3 in here. Okay, since we can. Let's make this an average. Let's say equal this plus this divided by 2. Okay, 71. That's kind of ugly there. Well, we could. That's going to be halfway between these two. We could do that. But then we say, okay, well then how much of this can we make? Well, we'll do it the other way. That's going to equal, and again, let's left justify this. It's going to equal the resources now of the, we're going to make this much. So if we're making this much, then how many book cassettes can we make? Okay, well, so essentially we're going to be using which one is going to be the constraint? Well, we can't see that here. I tell you what, let's do. Let's plot this thing. It's going to be, I can see it, but let's easier. Let's plot it so we can actually visualize it, because visualizing it is going to be a lot easier to do. So let's see what's happening here. So let's plot this thing with an X and a Y. Let's bring this over. over here. Let's do an X and a Y. Okay. And let's let the X be the book only. This is X and this is Y. So we can see it now. Then we can know how to do this. Okay, on this one, on this max profit here, let's zero this out. The max profit here, the X is going to simply be the 0. Let's bring this up here. Let's plot these. For the assembly, this essentially is going to be the Y. It's going to be X will be, let's say, 0. Y will equal this divided by this. It's going to be 0 to 680. Okay, so let's come down to the packaging, and this is going to be 0. And then if this is 0, then if this is 0, the maximum Y then is going to equal this divided by the Y. Okay, which is 160. Now, if this is 0, this is going to equal this divided by the maximum on the X's. Okay, so we see here this is 22,000. So let's make this go, let's say 25,000. Okay, then if this is 25,000, then what's going to be my capacity here? It's going to be the same. So this is, it's going to be a flat line because this is 0. It's going to be a horizontal line. And then this is packaging. Then we have the minimum requirements here. Well, that's going to be 0, 0. Okay, if one 0, the other 0. The other, if this is 25,000, remember these are equal to one another. If this is going to equal 25,000, then this will equal 25,000. Okay, now let's plot these things so we can actually see them. Insert a plot. Okay, let's go down here. Insert a plot down here. They're looking, oh, don't want that. Let's look at this down here. Do it again. They're grabbing stuff I don't want. There we go. Now let's come over here. Do the X and Y. Okay, select data. Here we go. Put it down here. Okay, first of all, add. The first series name is going to be my assembly. The X values are going to be these two, and the Y values are going to be these two, and there they are. So that's my assembly. Okay, let's add it. Let's add packaging. There's going to be packaging. Okay, the X values are going to be these two. Okay, and then the Y values are going to be the other two, these two, and there's packaging. Good to go. And then finally, let's add the other one. Add. This is going to be a max requirement. And the X values are going to be these two. And then the Y values are going to be these two. Let's see if that works. Did I do that right? Yep, I did it. Okay. Let's go ahead. That's fine. We'll just stop here. You can format this if you want. But now we can see what's going on here. Okay, and that's why I did this. Reduce this down a little bit so we can get everything on the same page. So now down here, notice that this maximum value here is going to be right here. That's the maximum value. Now the current 36 is going to be this point right here. So this is the current value, and there's a maximum value. So when we go between the 3600 of the book only here, this is book only. When we go 3600 to 10538, when we increase this, we're decreasing the book CD by the packaging, because this is the packaging. Okay, so now let's suppose that, now let's get back to this. Now that we can see it's the packaging that determines what the Y is going to be. Not this constraint, not the blue constraint, not the gray constraint, but the orange constraint. When we increase this, it's going to come right down like this. Okay. So this is you can't get lower than this, and also you can't get higher than this. So this is the line that contains the objective function or the value of the objective function. Okay, the solution. So let's take the minimum here. Now let's do this. Okay, it's going to be this plus this divided by 2, and that's what we had before. Let's go ahead and get. It should be halfway between here. So now we'll say, well, if we come up to here, down to here, then what's going to be the Y? It's going to be whatever the Y is on the packaging. In other words, we take the packaging, which is 1920, so let's equal open parenthesis, this, subtract the resources, the packaging resources of this times this, okay, divided by the production standard. Okay, and there's going to be the actual, you're going to go from 10,000 up to 13 on the way to 16. Okay, and now we can bring the profit down. Okay, and this profit should be like halfway between these two. Okay, in other words, if I just, for example, if I just said equals this plus this divided by 2, yeah, it should be the same. And it's the same. If you come halfway here, you come halfway down, it's going to be the same. Okay, because it's linear. So you can put others in here if you want. Others in here. And this is go 3,000 to 7,000 to 10,000. Whatever you want to do. I mean, you can put anything in here and just do the same calculations to get the different products in here, profitabilities. Okay, and so this is what they wanted to know. If you increase the book only, you're going to start increase the book only, and decrease the book cassette. Then you're going to start increasing your profit. And so you can figure out the rate of increase if you want for every 1,000 you increase. So make this 4680. Okay, I can make this 4680. Okay, and then say, okay, well, I'm going to increase by how much? It's going to be this minus this. So once you have it set up, you can do all kinds of stuff. Okay, for every 1,000 increase of this, you're increasing this, you're decreasing this by that much, and the profit increases by that much, and however you want to do it. So this is kind of the concepts. This is the relationships. But then let's come back. Are we finished? Not yet. Because now it says, okay, make sure that we include the order quantities, distribution amounts, and monetary values. Okay. So what let's do here. Let's do that for just the current value here, and the optimal value, just for those, just to see how this works. Okay, and actually we're going to use these numbers up here. So let's move this out of the way. Okay, and let's just kind of bring these numbers up here. Let's bring these numbers right here. These two numbers. Let's just bring them up here. Move this around. I'll tell you what. Let's just copy this over. Now we'll do the second part. Okay. Now we'll bring this up here, because we're going to be using all these numbers up here to get the cost and distribution and everything. Let's put it right here. And let's get this out of our way because we don't want to mess this up. There we go. Okay, now let's see here. First, let's say that we have, let's take these out. And let's say we have let's say distribution. Let's move these over. Bring this down. We won't do these for now. We'll just do these for now. Bring these over here. Bring these up here. Okay, now let's do distribution. And let's have the book CD and the book only. Okay. Okay. We don't need all of this now. No border and no fill. Okay, now that we have that, now let's get the values that they want to see for the analysis, for the comparative analysis. So now we know that if you increase this, if you decrease this and increase this, then yes, that. Let's see, did I do this right? The book only is this. You want to maximize the CDs, and then that's what's left over. So this right here is their current. Okay, this is the max profit. This is the current. Okay. However, we probably want to do some things in between. Okay, but let's just do this for now. Okay, now that we have these right here, let's do the current first. Over here like this, and bring this over here like this, because we're going to start filling this stuff in. Okay, this is the actual distribution. So let's box this in. Okay. Next, let's see here. We want to do. Let's say, what are we ordering? What we order now is the number of books and the number of CDs. Well, the number of books we're ordering is going to equal this plus this. That's how many books. The number of CDs is just this. Okay, and so that's going to be this one. Let's box this in. Okay, now let's look at the order cost. Again, books and CDs. Well, how much do they cost? Well, first of all, now we're going to be using this stuff over here. This over here is going to bring this up. The books are going to equal, the books cost $1.50 times, okay, let's back up. We're going to use this for all of these. So this equals $1.50 F4 to freeze it times the books, which is going to be this one. This is going to equal the CDs, F4, times how many CDs we're going to actually order. Then we have a total. Is this just the sum of these? This plus this. So I don't know if you want to use this or not, but this right here now, this is going to be how much money they need up front. This is the cost for the current. Okay, so that's the ordering cost. Now let's do the product cost. Make this a little bigger. Let's do the product cost now. Okay, let's bring this over. Okay, now for the products, again, we're going to have the book CD and the book only. And then we'll do the total down here. So this is the cost of the products. Okay, so this would be how many products do you have? That's going to equal the book CD equals the book CD times how much the costs are going to be in each of the book CD. So that's simply going to be the this plus this, 87,360. And the book only is how many books you're ordering times the cost of the book, which is going to be this. Okay, so that's going to be the actual cost of each of these, which is this plus this. Move this over so you can see it. There we go. Okay. So we take so that's going to be the cost of the products. So this is the ordering cost up front. These are the cost of the products downstream. So now let's do the revenue, the product revenue. Again, let's make this bigger so we can see it. Again, we're going to have all three of these. Okay, now the revenue is going to equal the number of book CDs that we're distributing times the actual price. It's going to be the price here. Book CD, be careful here, $9.95. The book only equals the book only times $5.95. Okay, and this is the sum of the two. This plus this, so the revenue is $189,000. Okay, so let's box this in. So we're building. So now, what's the product? What's the profit? Just simple profit. Okay, again, we're going to have the 3 here. Well, that's simply going to be the revenue minus the cost, and then copy it down. Boom, boom. So there's our profit. Okay, that's the current. And let's box this in. Okay, that's good to know. Now we have this over here. Let's see here. Let's make sure that we have everything we need. You know, I didn't do everything right. Okay, on this one, notice what happened here. I included these over here, but I want these to be fixed. So let's highlight these in F4. That's what I thought. Forgot to do that. Make sure they're fixed. Likewise here, D5, we want this to be fixed. I'll show you why in a minute. And then we come down here, we want G5 to be fixed and G4 to be fixed. Okay, and that's the sum. And that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. So make sure that all the L's are, here's F. Okay, we don't care about this. Right here, make sure the L's are fine, L's are fine, L and D fixed, D fixed, L's are fine, LD fixed, D, L's are fine, LG. So these L's are going to be fine. So the reason I'm doing this is so now that we have this, now we have the max profit over here. Didn't we have another one down here somewhere? Yeah, we did somewhere. Oh, I moved it out of the way. Okay. But anyway, let's go ahead and move this over to here. The reason I'm doing this way is now I can just take all of this and just copy this over, and there's all the values for you. Now we can put different numbers in here, different numbers in here, and then just keep copying this over. Copy, copy, copy. And so whatever these are going to be, we can copy this over and see all the relationships here. Okay. Now, one more thing that might be valuable is the utilization of resources. utilization of the assembly and packaging. Okay, which might be something good to know. So right here we can say used. Well, what's going to be used here? Well, here's going to, let's bring this back so we can see it. Well, if the book CD, for the first of all, assembly, the assembly is just, notice over here, here it is just going to be the book CD, okay? And the book CD times this. So this is going to equal the book CD and then fix it times whatever the book CD is. It's going to be this. Okay, and that's all you're going to be using for that. And then what's going to be used for packaging is going to equal this fix it times the book only plus this fix it times book cassette. Okay. Now that we have this, and then we can say, fine, what's the slack? Again, for assembly and packaging resources, what is it? Okay. Or for assembly, simply we have equal, the assembly max is going to be the capacity, F4 to fix it, minus what was used. Slack is 0. This is going to equal the capacity minus what is used. Whoops, there I get it again. The capacity, F4 to fix, minus what is used, 1920, turns out to be 0. Okay, there we go. That's useful. And also that's the profitability, 96.17. Now if we move this over, notice what happens. We're going to have the we have slack here, no slack on packaging, but we have slack on assembly. Very, very interesting. Okay. So the question is, whoop, you can't see it. There we go. Let's do this again so you can see what I'm doing here. So if we take this and just spread it over here, this is what's being used. Then over here we can just take the slack, and this is the slack. Well, notice this slack right here of assembly. In other words, let's see, this is minutes. So if this is going to be equal this divided by 60, this is that many hours. Okay, so we're talking about almost 3 hours. So essentially what we're saying here, and this is going to be an increase. It's going to be this minus this. What we're saying here is, yes, we can increase by $775. It's not that much, but we can increase it. But maybe the key is we can work 3 hours less in the assembly department. In other words, you're saying you can work less and make more money. So that might be something extremely valuable to say. So yes, as we move from the current in the direction of increasing the book only and decreasing the book cassette, what will happen is your profit will increase and the amount of work you put in will decrease. You work less to make more money. That might be something really valuable to say as consultants in a comparative analysis. And it doesn't matter, probably doesn't matter how much it is. That doesn't matter what the maximum is. What they want to know is a comparison. Okay, the comparison, the concept simply is you can shift the increase the book only, decrease the book CD, increase the book only product, decrease the book CD product, and you will increase your profit and work less in the assembly department and still use all your packaging. Use all the packaging department, but you can use less assembly and increase your profits. So that could be a very good, very powerful memo to put together to say. So however you want to say this, it's up to you to communicate. Hopefully this helps. That's all I have for this memo. And you can do the communication however you want to do it. So do it to where it suits how you can communicate this as effectively to these people as possible. That's all I have. I hope this helps. Between the next time I see you, take care.